welcome to the Yarn Waffle podcast. My name is Liz Ward. I'm a crochet and knitting designer living in York in the UK, and this is my podcast where I talk about what I've been making and creating over the past few weeks. If you want to find me on Instagram or Ravelry, I am Lizwardcrafts over on both sites, and I do have a website where I sell mainly my crochet patterns, and that is lizwardcrochet.com. I'll put all the details on screen. All the information that I talk about in the show today will be in the description box below. So if there's anything that you like the sound of and you want to go and have a look at those patterns, I will provide links to Ravelry down there. And while you're down there, you might want to give this video a like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. That would be brilliant. And if the sound sounds a bit different today, I have a new microphone. So if the sound sounds different and better, that's brilliant. If it doesn't, if it sounds it's normal, terrible quality, then I messed up the sound. And hopefully I'm not doing that thing where my mouth is moving but the sound is coming a few seconds later, because even I can't watch videos when that happens. But yeah, I'm learning. This is probably my 4th year doing podcasts, but we're still learning. We're still getting there with it. But yes, I'll save the waffle till the end and crack on in straight away with finished objects. And I have 2 finished objects this week. The first one is a project you haven't even seen before, and this is the Stormy Shawl. As per usual, I'll put the card up with all the details, and also in the description box if you want a clickable link. This is a pattern by Hokey Locatelli. It is a 1 skein shawl, so 1 skein sort of fingering weight 4-ply sock yarn type yarn. It would work really well in a single as well though. So it's a great project for those, you know, when you go to a yarn festival and there's that skein that you just have to get. But you don't really know what to do with it and it's too nice for socks. This would be a brilliant project for that. But I have actually knit this for Helen from Giddy Yarns. This is her yarn. It's her new range. She's done a whole collection of Narnia themed yarns and they are beautiful. Oh, they're so beautiful. This actually, I saw her dyeing this colour. I'll get it a bit closer. I will put some close-ups in as well because I'm still not sure about the lighting. But yeah, I saw her dyeing this colour on one of her vlogs and I thought that's right up my street. It is the Stone Table colourway. It is a tonal grey speckled with greens, and there's every so often a little bit like a pinky colour as well. It's just beautiful. It's also a really nice base. I think it's just a 75-25 merino superwash, but it's really squishy. It's lovely. Yeah, so the pattern is a crescent shaped shawl, so it's sort of and it is garter, drop stitches and eyelets and short rows. So it's, I don't know how well can we show this off here. So can you see the short row sort of wedges in there? Yeah, it was really, really fun. I knit it in a few evenings. Like I said, it's just a 1 skein shawl. It did look a bit small when I'd finished it, but it blocked out much bigger. And obviously it's got like a little picot edge at the end. So yeah, it's just a nice sort of shawl. I love shawls that are just 1 skein because you can throw them in your handbag because they squish down really small. But then you've got them if you need that little extra bit of warm. So I've knit this for Helen as a sample and it will be winging its way back to her so she can have it at shows to show off just how beautiful this yarn is, and it really is beautiful. I think greys get overlooked somewhat, but no, it's this is just would be such a staple piece. Kind of don't want to give it away. But I definitely am going to cast on another one of these shawls. I've caked up some yarn, actually, to knit another one. This is the Silver Linings colourway by Die Candy. And it was one of her club colourways from maybe a couple of years ago now. And I actually got 2 skeins. And I sent one of the skeins off to Rosie, who is a viewer of the podcast, and I kept the other one for me. We did a swap, and so now I've finally decided what I'm going to do with my skein, and I'm going to make one of these storm shawls. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. So that was the storm shawl. Really great one skein pattern, and I will be knitting it again. And the second finished object is one that I've shown on the last... Sorry, I'm really handsy today. The second finished object is one that I have showed on the last couple of podcasts. It is my night shift shawl. And this has not yet been blocked, but I love it so much. Again, I'll put in some close-ups. But yeah, this is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. It is mosaic crochet, and I have knit this with my Advent spin. So the colourful yarn is hand spun, and it was a pack by Spin Jones of lots of little tiny bumps. They were like this long, like 5 gram bumps of all different colours, and I put them together. Well, they came pretty much in a sort of rainbow gradient, and I just pulled them apart, pulled them into what I wanted. And I spun them end to end and then chain plied them, and I ended up with about a DK weight yarn. So I have made the night shift shawl with them, and the background colour is a willow and lark yarn, and it's their poetry range. And it's the owl grey colour, which is the very palest grey. And I chose this yarn because it has, I don't think it does have silk in it, but it has something. Editing Liz will have done the research that I am far too lazy to do, and put it on the screen. But yeah, it has a content that gives it the similar sheen to the handspun, because the handspun did have a lot of silk in it. Has it got camel in it, Editing Liz? So yeah, as I say, I haven't blocked this yet. I am a little bit nervous about blocking it because there is some sari silk in the handspun, and that does have a tendency to bleed when you block it. So there are chances that I could get some blue and red bleeding into the grey. So I am waiting to find my colour catchers, which are little sheets that you put in with the water when you're soaking it, and they are supposed to catch any running dye. But I have misplaced mine, as I misplace most things in my house. But yeah, when I find those, I will then... Okay, so I had a bit of a cut out there. Hopefully I'll have picked it up at the same time. This is really going to test my ability to sync the audio, isn't it? Yeah, what I was saying was that I'm waiting to block this until I find my colour catchers, and then I'll block it, and it might grow a little bit, but to be fair, I don't think it needs to grow that much longer. It is already huge. But it's a lovely shawl. It's so squishy and so soft, and because it's got that sort of silky content, it's just lovely. It is like a heavier weight shawl. I'm sorry if I'm looking a plum. Because it's pretty much DK weight yarn, and I really like that. I have found this winter especially, I am wearing my DK weight shawls more. I have a jigsaw by Stephen West, which honestly when I finished it I didn't think I'd get much wear because it was more of a blanket than a shawl. But some of the early mornings I'm heading off to work, I am wrapping myself in that. And yeah, it's getting more wear than any other shawl. So yeah, having DK weight shawls is definitely a good idea. Yeah, so I have finished my night shift, and you know what that means, because it means I can cast on my new one, and I may have already done that, but we'll wait to whips to find out. So I do have one more finished object. It's a bit of a cheeky one though, and that is what I'm wearing. Yeah, this is my Weekender by Andrea Mowry again. It is actually knit in hand spun, so it's my first hand spun sweater, finished sweater. And yeah, it's a bit of a cheeky one because it's actually been finished for a while. I finished it at the back end of last year, but I hadn't blocked it or woven in the ends. Don't know why, don't have a good excuse. It just sat there on the I'll do that at some point time pile. Yeah, it just sat there on the I'll do that at some point pile, but that some point never arrived until this weekend. And I decided to block it and finish it and actually see what it looks like. And I love it. I think maybe I was waiting for a special occasion to wear it for the first time. But yeah, maybe. So yeah, this is knit in hand spun, and the fibre that I spun was the anniversary blend by John Arbon, and it was their dark mill blend, the dark mill marl. So it was a combination of different fibres, and there was the strong colours in it were like a pink, a blue and a light grey with brown. And you can actually, if you get close, I'll put some close-ups in as per usual. You can see all those colours marling together, but overall it gives a sort of dark mauvey type effect. And this jumper is knit bottom up, and it is reverse stockinette, but you obviously knit it in the round the other way around, so you're not purling the whole time. It's got this seam detail that runs down the front and down the back, and it has a boat neck, so there is ribbing all along and set-in sleeves, which actually fit quite nicely, I think. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this. The more I wear it, the more I feel comfortable in it. I think it's quite a good fit. I wish maybe I'd made it a bit shorter. I feel like I overcompensate in length, because Andrea Murray does a lot of her patterns quite short and cropped, and I always think, oh, I need it longer. But then sometimes I think I make it too long, and I can edge into that slightly frumpy sort of length, in my opinion, on me. Yeah, and I kind of slightly wish it was a bit shorter, because I think it would be smarter in a way. Don't know. There is always an option to go in and modify it at a later date and make it shorter if I wanted. It would be a bit more of a faff because this is a bottom up. It's not like I could just start ripping back the hem. I would have to go in and cut it, and it may well be too much bother. I may end up just knitting another, because I do also have the pattern for the lightweight version of this, because this is the worsted weight version, the original. And yeah, I would quite like a lighter weight version as well. It's a really nice shape. I'm really, really pleased with it. But yeah, that is it for finished objects for this week. So we shall move on into whips. And first up in whips is my single malt sweater that I'm knitting for my friend Richard. This is not in a project bag because it's literally sat next to me on the sofa because I have been working on it, and I have finished the body. I finished that yesterday, and I picked up for the first sleeve. So this is a pattern by Maxim Sear, Max the Knitter, and it is a really kind of simple but classic looking raglan sweater. It is textured with this lovely sort of detailing around the raglans. Oh, I'm getting blinded by my ring light. It does have, the pattern does have short row shaping, which just lifts the back of the neck up. I chose not to do that because I don't think Richard will mind. And just a personal thing, I didn't really like the way it looked. What I do like is the little detail of on the ribbing. You do a purl row, a full purl row before you go into this ribbing, and this is a 2x1 ribbing, which I always kind of forget about a 2x1 ribbing, but it's so lovely, and it's actually lovely to knit. And then I did a stretchy bind off, and it really is stretchy. This was from a Very Pink Knits tutorial that I found on YouTube, and it's just binding off in pattern. So you knit the knits and purl the purls, and then you knit two together through the back loop, and then purl two together through the back loop. Really simple, but it just makes a very stretchy bind off. I mean, it really is very stretchy bind off, but it also doesn't flare out too much, which I really like. And I would normally do a sewn bind off, but not for the hem of a sweater, because gosh, the length of thread that you're going to need to start off with, it's just not worth messing about with. I have heard that the sleeves on this are a bit tight, so I am just I'm going to keep an eye on that and modify when I do decreases. I've only done one decrease so far, and that detail that goes down the raglan continues under the sleeve. I am knitting this in King Cole Forest Aran. This is a commercial yarn. It is mainly acrylic. There is some wool content there, and it is made from recycled yarn, so it has a bit of a tweedy effect. It is a woolen spun yarn, so it is quite lofty, I think is the expression. So whereas it doesn't feel or look like a Aran weight yarn, if you see it in the ball, and the yardage is beyond belief. The yardage is 300 meters for 100 grams, which for Aran is unheard of. This does block and bloom, and so you will get that worsted Aran weight gauge, and very, very reasonable. I have a sweater quantity in another colour, and I'm thinking of picking up one in the cream as well, because I think it would look really nice in a cream, because I'm tempted to knit one of these for me as well, just as a around the house jumper. But yeah, it's lovely. You'll be able to see on the close-ups that it's got all these little tweedy bits of colour, and that's the recycled aspect, because it's all the chopped up bits of other yarn that have gone into it. Really, really enjoying this pattern. Would not have thought I would be, because it's basically broken rib, which you couldn't have paid me to knit for you, but actually really enjoying it. So yeah, that is my single malt. Now I've actually picked it up again, I'm hoping to crack on through with the sleeves and get it to him, because yeah, I want to finish some sweaters for me. I know this one, but technically I'd finished this one last year. Okay, so what else do I have in whips? Okay, what's next with whips? And I do have a couple of socks that I'm working on. I'm trying to use up scraps of commercial sock yarn, and I have a few leftover Crazy's Alba balls. So what I decided to do was just cast them on and knit sock tubes for as long as I could. So this one, this is the yarn that I used in my Junction pullover, which is another pattern by Andrea Mowry. And so the leftovers I'm now just knitting into a sock tube. I put a toe on in a contrast colour, and that's just a Drops Fable. And then I'm just going to knit as long as I can. I've got that much left. Jax, come here if you're coming here. Don't go near the microphone. Yeah, so I've got that much left still. And I think Jax has just farted. It really stinks. But just apologise to the people. Apologise for your smelly bottom. Oh, you stink. You stink, you stink, you stink. Yeah, Crazy's Alba balls are a bit ambiguous when it comes to how much is left on them, and if you're lazy like me and don't weigh them, it can be pretty hard to tell. But this one I think is going strong. I should be able to get a nice pair of socks out of it. And this one I'm currently keeping in my office upstairs, and I'm knitting on it whenever I'm doing my editing course. So there's a lot of listening this week, especially. There's been a lot of listening to technical information, which has definitely left the brain a wee bit fuzzy. Although I now know what 4K and Ultra HD are. Didn't know that before. So yeah, there's been a lot of learning technical things this week. However, my first Zauber ball leftovers is not quite long enough to make a sock. This is basically it. I actually started this one with a little cuff and knit all the Zauber ball, and I got to about here and I was like, I definitely don't think this is going to be long enough for a pair of socks. It's basically only long enough for one sock. But I finished it with another little cuff, so I can technically cut it in half and not even make the shortest shorty socks. This is not long enough. So what I am going to do is cut it in half and put a heel in, and then knit the foot of these in a plain colour. And yeah, they will still be very nice socks. Hello, Jax, you stinky boy. And they also gave me some inspiration, because when I was knitting these, the way this yarn marls, I don't know if you can see, there's a lovely bit in it where it marls with the beige and the blue. And I think I'm going to spin some yarn like that colour for a Musselburgh hat. And that will be in my Spin to Knit series in the future. In the future. I did get the fibre, but I won't be showing you that today. But yeah, they are my Zauber ball socks, and Jax has just pulled all these stitches out. So just bear with me while I pick these up. This is why Jax normally gets shut out, but he was making a racket at the door. Oh. Talk amongst yourselves. How's everybody doing? Noticed some new subscribers. Is that because of Spin to Knit, or are you here for the podcast? Leave me a comment and let me know. Oh, they've come out all on the other side as well. Oh, he really pulled this needle out. Hadn't even noticed that. And now he's knocking something over. Does anybody want a cat? I've got a Bengal kitten. He's a snow Bengal. He's about 7 months old. He's the hugest cat I've ever seen. He's very, very smelly. Very, very naughty. Nothing on a shelf is safe. However, he is very adorable. He likes cuddles and kisses and more cuddles and naps, but he will destroy everything you own and love. So let me know in the comments if you'd like to give him a home, because there are plenty of times when I would quite happily throw him out the window. Okay, stitches picked up, rant over. Don't have Bengal cats. And more socks. So I have my little Cassie bag here. This is a bag that I made a while ago. And yeah, in here I have the socks that I showed you on the last episode, saying that I was going to cast them on. These are the... Oh, I can never pronounce this. The details will be up on the card. To me, it looks like icicles, but if a kid was trying to say it and couldn't. So it's like icincles? Icincles, maybe? I don't know. I should probably get in touch with the designer and ask her how she is pronouncing it. But yeah, let's go with icincles. And this is a pattern that I absolutely fell in love with when I saw it on Ravelry. I don't know if this is going to come across, and if it doesn't, I will put some close-up pictures on, which I will probably do anyway. So this is a sock that uses mosaic knitting again. So like the Nightshift use mosaic, this uses it in a different way, and it uses it by one pass cables to create this sort of faded sock effect with this beautiful cabling, twisting icicles. I also think they look like kind of like the DNA symbols. And it's just, I think we're really having a problem with lighting. It's just beautiful. The yarn I'm using for this is that Ducky Darlings sock set that was in acquisitions last episode as well. I did decide to cast it on in this. It's a yellow mini, 20 gram mini, and the main colour is this sort of speckled green. It doesn't want to show you. Again, I'm just going to put in some pictures over the top because I like filming in this setup, but the light isn't 100% working. And I don't know whether it's just because I probably don't need the ring light on, or my camera is trying to adapt to the darker background. But I also quite like having the close-up pictures coming in on top, and I hope you enjoy that too. And so I think we're going to stick with that for a little bit. But yeah, this is just, it's such a genius pattern. I was a bit nervous casting it on because I just didn't have any idea how it was done. Once I got the gist, it was very, very simple and very enjoyable. I knit this whole sock top part in an afternoon, and it was very, very enjoyable to knit. It was, intuitive is the wrong word, because I definitely had to follow the pattern. I needed that instructions as to where the cables were going and stuff like that. But it wasn't like I needed my hand held all the time. The chart is there, and once you get the gist of what's going on, you can just sort of glance at the chart and going, all right, we're doing that, and then crack on and do it. Rather than it being like, okay, so what stitch is next? And what stitch is next? Yeah. It was very, very enjoyable. It's one of the most logically written patterns I have come across. I did buy the full set of these patterns. These patterns are all designed to work with sock sets, and Ducky Darlings just happens to be doing sock sets as her mystery club this year. So I think a few of these might end up being used for that. Yeah, I don't really know what else to tell you. Oh, the heel. This was a new to me heel. It's a short row heel. Oh no, I've done something very weird there. And it is the shadow wrap heel. So this really, really fun. And it seemed to me that at any point in this pattern that I was a bit like, oh, I'm probably going to need to adapt it and do that. I kind of read the next line and she was ahead of me. Like, it got past the heel turn and I was like, well, there's more stitches than I would like for a sock for me, so I might just reduce them down after the heel turn. She'd already done it in the pattern, so she'd already taken those stitches down after the heel flap. So honestly, it was just a joy to follow. And now all I have to do is knit through the foot and put the toe on. I don't know what toe is in the pattern, but I will follow it and cast on the second. But yeah, these have just been a very enjoyable sock knit, and sometimes with socks it's fun to do something a little bit different. And yeah, so yeah, if you're interested in that pattern, go check it out. It is all the details will have been on screen, and they are also in the description box. If you have a sock set in your stash that you've been looking for something to do with, it's a really nice one to try. Definitely worth a go. Okie dokie, what else have we got in here? I have 2 more whips to show you today. This one is not in a project bag. Working project number 3 is my tied knots hat, and this is a all over cabled pattern. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. I have knit it before, and that hat unfortunately got felted in the washing machine, which so upset about. I was so upset about it. It was made in yarn from the Bakery Bears which is like, you just can't get yarn from the Bakery Bears again. Kay she's dying for the show, but she's not dying to sell, so gutted. So when this most perfect, precious, dark green, gorgeous yarn from Fruitful Fusions came into my life, I thought it needs to be another Tied Knots, because that was a hat I really, really loved. And it's quite an intricate cable pattern, but it's really simple if you follow the chart. I also cable without a cable needle. The first time I knit this I didn't. I used a cable needle then, but since then I have followed... Stephen West has a tutorial for cabling without a cable needle. If I can find the link, which should be fairly easy, I'm just thinking of how lazy I am. So if I will find the link and I will put it in the description box below, because it is a really good tutorial on how to cable without a cable needle. It's it just made it suddenly click in my head, and now I can, and I want to do all the cabling projects because it's so much faster when you don't have to you don't have to use a cable needle and do that sort of picking up and putting down. And also I don't think he really covers it in that tutorial, but when you learn to read cable charts and the fact that the symbols for the cables are actually laid out how the cables twist and turn, then it makes it 10 times easier as well. So this gorgeous yarn, again close-ups will be in, is from Ishrat, which is Fruitful Fusions. Her yarn is amazing. I picked this up at Yarndale last year, and it has been waiting to be made into a hat ever since. And actually, one more. It's alright, I'm back. I'm back with Pom Pom. Yeah, I got this yarn. I honestly could not resist it. This is my absolute favourite green. It is coming across a little bit lighter on the screen, but it is a dark ink green, bottle green, slightly variegated with it being hand dyed, and just utterly stunning. And yeah, I got this and then went back to see the Crafty Bird and all her beautiful pom-poms, and picked up this one to go with it because it is the exact match of colour. Can you see that? I have to cut out my very white face. But yeah. So yeah, that is the pom-pom to go on top when it is done, and it's a huge, massive pom-pom, but I don't care. I think it's perfect. So yeah, this is my... I have time to sit and knit and concentrate on doing something a bit more interesting than just stocking it in the round. So that hasn't had a lot of work on it, but the work I have done on it has been very enjoyable. Beautiful yarn, beautiful pattern, and I really want this hat. Okay. Right, the last whip I'm currently working on, or I've really been working on this week, is my new nightshift shawl. And this is a nightshift shawl that I'm making for the next episode of Spin to Knit, which is my new series on this channel where I spin intentionally for a pattern. So I pick a pattern and then I spin the yarn to make that pattern. So it has the complications of one, I am a beginner spinner. It's still not a year. I'm coming up to my first anniversary of being a spinner. So yeah, I have all the challenges of trying to get the yarn the right thickness and getting the right yarn for the projects and whatnot. So far, we've only had one episode come out, which was the Oak Hollow mitts. But this is for the second episode, which will hopefully be up next Friday. So Friday, the editing Liz will put it on the screen. So yeah, there's still a bit of knitting to do on this, but I have finished all the spinning and the editing is done for up to the knitting part. So yeah, this is the Night Shift shawl by Andrea Mowry. So I can actually bring in the card I've already made. And this is knit in handspun. And it is beautiful. It is so beautiful. I have been looking for fibre to spin to make one of these for ages, and I finally found the third braid to make the collection of braids complete from Furbeck fibre. So again, there'll be pictures on the screen. So the braids for this, one was from Yarndale from Felt Studio UK. That is the palest green and blue. The red and yellow and grey one is one I dyed, and that was on a humbug fibre. And the gradient from gold to purple is from Furbeck fibres. And this is a Polwarth. And Polwarth is officially my new favourite fibre. This is so squishy and soft. It was an absolute dream to spin. These were all spun in the fractal method, where the skein is split. So I split each braid was split into thirds, and one of those thirds was spun end to end. One of them was then put in half again and spun end to end, but both halves. And the last portion was split into quarters and spun end to end. So you get a long repeat of colour in the first one, a medium length repeat of colour in the second one, and a fast changing colour repeat in the third one. And when you apply those together, you get this effect. And by this effect, I'm talking about the colours in the background, because again, this is the mosaic, this is the night shift. But yeah, you get the colours blending and merging together. So I am over the moon with this spin. It's quite possibly one of my favourite spins to date. The yarn is just beautiful, and the shawl that it is making is just completely exceeds expectations. Yeah, I still have a lot of knitting in this to go, and as I say, I want to get the next episode up for next Friday. So I'm recording this on Tuesday, and it will be But yeah, I was talking about my night shift. You can see from this one that I still have quite a lot of knitting to go, and not a lot of time. Yeah, today is Wednesday the 16th? Yeah, today is Wednesday the 16th, and this needs to be finished by a week on Friday. So this is mainly going to be all I am knitting on for the next few days, and I'm intending to rewatch Game of Thrones and just sit and knit for a couple of days to get this episode up and out on Friday. But to be perfectly honest, I am going to love every second of it, because there is nothing quite like knitting with handspun. It is just bouncy. I mean, can you see the squish? It's just so squishy. And yeah, the colours play with each other, and they're working so well together. Honestly, I mean, I could just go on about this shawl forever because I really, really love it, but I probably should save some of it for that episode. So if you are interested in knitting or spinning and all the things, go and take a look at that episode when it comes. There will also obviously be lots of cat content in it, because I cannot take a picture without them being in it. Although, to be fair, at the moment, they're all asleep. They're behind the camera, all of them, and they're all asleep, although Cal is looking at me, and if I point at her, she'll probably appear. Okay, so that is it for whips, and so we'll get into spinning, as if I haven't been talking about spinning enough with my night shift. Okay, so spinning. I don't actually have a lot of spinning to show you, just more of what I showed you last episode, which is my sweater spin. This is the fibre from Woolly Knit. It is like a dark brown and orange marl, and I have done a 2-ply, and it is fingering sport weight, and yeah, I have finished plying all this yarn. There is a lot of yarn here. There is, what did I work it out as? I think I've got like 2,000 yards. So there is a lot of yarn here. And this one day will grow up to be a wool and honey jumper by Andrea Mowry. It may be a while before that happens because I need to do some sweater spins for the Spin to Knit series. And I can't include this one because I didn't record the spinning. So this will just be a knit for me one day. And yeah, I'm still debating as to whether I'm going to over dye this brown colour to make it more of a burnt orange. Still debating that one. But that is my spinning. I am currently plying a yarn that will be made into socks. And I might put a little picture of that in on the screen. That is a braid from Felt Studio UK again. I had to find... I couldn't remember who I got that braid from the net for the night shift. Sorry, I'm sat on a project bag. So I had to find them. And in order to do that, I had to go onto the Yarndale floor plan and try and remember whereabouts they were. And then go through them, and I found them eventually. It did take some doing, but I needed to know who they were because obviously it's going into that Spin to Knit episode. And then I found them, and I found their Etsy shop, and that was a mistake because they just have the most beautiful fibre, and I had to buy some. So some of it is currently on the spinning wheel plying, and I'll put a picture in of it before it was plied, and I'll show you it plied, if not already cast on, in the next episode. And I'll leave spinning here for now because I do have a few acquisitions to show you. Although technically we could class them in spinning as they are all fibre acquisitions. So as well as buying that braid from Felt Studio UK, I also bought these. This is Felt Studio UK. Felt Studio UK. I also bought these. Nobody is surprised by this one. This is a superwash merino. It is a short braid. It is just 72 grams, but it would make a lovely sock yarn or for use in a shawl. So that is one braid. Don't judge me. And this is another one by Felt Studio UK, and this is a BFL, a Blue Flake Leicester, and this is 100 grams, I think. It is 102 grams. I love the preciseness of that. That just pleases my heart. And this is a humbug fibre, which again is the fibre that is, the base fibre is white and naturally grey merino striped together, and then it has been dyed, so you get a really lovely heathered effect. This one is also the humbug. That's really not gonna... This is the... Hide my head. This is the humbug. And it gives you a heathered effect. It's probably not going to come across. So yeah. I think they go together quite nicely. I don't know if they'll be used together, but I love having more fluff. And then I did get a little bit more fluff, but Crafty Cat fibre, I've spun quite a bit. I'm actually, my Sparky that I am knitting is in her fibre, and I still haven't spun for the sleeves, and I really need to. That is the next thing going on the spinning wheel after this sock yarn, because the sock yarn is for a cal that I want to take part in, so after that the yarn for the Sparky sleeves is going on. But yeah, she did put a post on Instagram saying that she was having, I think she was having like a bit of a sale, or she was putting up some slightly different fibres. So I decided to go have a look, and I got these ones from her. This is like a gradient that goes from green to red and back again, and I have no idea what sheep breed this is. I will put it on these. Oh no, it's Kent Romney. Sorry, that is the colour name that I can't read. It's a Romney is the fibre, and it is lovely. It's very fluffy. That is not a technical word. It is. It's got a strong crimp to this fibre. So if you were an 80s kid and crimped your hair, these sheep look like they also had hair like that. This is going to be a really nice, strong yarn. It probably would be quite good for something like a long draw, which I'm not very good at, but it'd be interesting to have a try. But yeah, I just, this colourway, it's just... And because I have a mild obsession with this humbug fibre, this is another one. And this is a Shetland humbug. So Shetland is quite a rustic wool. Hang on. No, I could live with a hat with that. That's not prickly at all. Again, it does have quite a strong crimp to it. I wonder if I can actually get close-ups of this crimpiness to show you. This has got a bit of a fluffy end because Puka decided to try and eat it. And yeah, this is a rainbow one because I'll just spin every rainbow there is. So yeah, that is the fibre acquisitions that I have. I don't have any yarn acquisitions, but I do have a little bit of fibre. And yeah, so that is it for the knitty content. I'm just trying to think if there is any waffle this week. It's been fairly quiet around here. I'm working sort of steadily away on my video editing course. I'm really enjoying it. It's, like I say, it is getting quite technical now, and I'm also being shamed for having bad audio, hence spending a little bit more than I would have liked to getting new audio equipment that I'm still far too scared to use. Like I say, let's thumbs up for the audio. Yeah, it's those sort of tiny technical things that really don't make a lot of difference in YouTube land, but now I know about them, I pick up on them on other people's videos, and I'm like, yeah, I can't live with that in my videos. So yeah, I've been shamed into buying my microphone, and hopefully from now on we should have better audio. And it is a really good microphone, and it does more than I need it to at the moment, so going forward there is scope to use it for other things. So yeah, hopefully I will have had slightly better sound on this episode. But yeah, so whenever I get sort of time off, when I'm not working, I am trying to use it to complete that course. I'm about halfway through at the moment. It's quite a long course, it's quite in depth. And when I'm not doing that, I'm also trying to work on the practical side and do the filming for these Spin to Knit episodes, and yeah, then just making the content, which is doing the spinning and the knitting. I'm trying to get like at least 3 or 4 episodes just completely finished, so I'm not in this situation where I'm having to knit a shawl in less than a week in order to get the episode up. Yeah, I think the idea of having seasons with it is probably going to be a good idea. So I think the plan is that I will do 6 episodes of Spin to Knit, and they will come out on the last Friday of every month, and then I will probably take 3 months off and in those 3 months I will have time to get ahead on the next block, so it will be like that. So yeah, I think because I am doing the course, it is helping me be more organised and disciplined with keeping like my upload schedule on track. So I'm trying to upload the podcasts. They are coming out now every 2 weeks on a Friday, and I really want to keep on that schedule. And then the Spin to Knit will come out on the last Friday of every month. And I'm thinking of plugging the gap, because there's now a week where I'm not filming anything or not uploading anything. And I think there's a little gap there to do maybe a short video or like a short tutorial video every month. But we will definitely see how things are going. At the moment I don't have a lot of crochet work on, so I'm just like, I can do all the things, but I know that as soon as any crochet work comes in, it's like I have no time. I have no free time to do anything. So yeah, I do kind of just like, can I get ahead? Can I do all these things now? But yeah, so work-wise, that is pretty much what I'm on with. Just really enjoying learning more about editing. Home and everything is fine. House is a mess, but cats. Jax is destroying everything I love and care about. He's a horror of a cat. Not really, he's adorable. I'll go and get Puka. So I get Puka. She's going to be grumpy for a minute. Yeah, all the cats are doing absolutely fine. They spend most of the time pretending they hate each other and then all cuddle up together looking absolutely adorable. Yeah. What other news is there? I am very excited about Horizon Forbidden West coming out. I'm not a massive gamer, but Horizon is my game. I love it. I love it. I played the first one and the expansion, and I literally did everything. Got all the collectibles. I completely end to end completed that game. And yeah, so the new version coming out, I'm very excited for. That will be my weekend when I'm not at work. That's why I want to finish the shawl, so I can actually get some gaming time done. Yeah. Apart from, has everyone seen the trailer for the new Jurassic World film? Because if you don't know, Jurassic Park is my all-time favourite film. I'm aware of its faults and how cheesy it is and whatnot, but the franchise is just, you know, just perfect as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, so the final in this new trilogy is coming out later this year. But yeah, they just dropped the trailer for it and very excited. Very excited. But yeah, anyway, I'll stop waffling on. Are you grumbling at me? Okay, I'll let Puka disappear because she's having a grumble. Leave me a comment, let me know what you're working on at the moment. Yeah, it's always really interesting to see if you've knit any of the projects I'm working on, or if you're knitting anything similar, or what about spinning? Are there any spinners out there who are, or knitters who are sort of itching to give it a go? Leave me a comment, let me know, and I'll speak to you all in a couple of weeks. So till then, take care, goodbye my friends.